2020 hasn't exactly been a walk in the park, from the Iowa caucus chaos to the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic to the death of George Floyd and so much more. It's been difficult to find humor in any of it. And well, that's just the point. Americans haven't had the time to enjoy themselves and have a laugh. So on Thursday, July 30th, lifelong resident of Newton, Candy Gold, offered the use of her own backyard for exactly that reason. Ms. Gold, a Tony Award winner for the Broadway play Hadestown, also produced a self-titled cooking show, Neighborhood Cooking with Candy Gold. But just after ending her cooking show and deciding to focus more on the performing arts, the pandemic hit.
I had a lot of new shows that were supposed to open in the spring. None of them happened.
In an effort to find some relief during tough times and continue sharing her love for theater, Ms. Gold quickly went from cooking candy to comedy candy.
To try to fill a need for local live performance, I tried to figure out how to do it outside, in the air, socially distanced, with masks on.
Folding chairs were spread out neatly in front of a stage, creating an arrangement similar to that of a theater.
You don't change seats in a theater.
But most importantly, Ms. Gold required that all audience members wear their masks. Though the outdoor, COVID-friendly comedy show was certainly not the norm, the performers and the crowd alike made the best of a challenging situation.
These are the money shots, people. Everyone smile with your mask on.
Though the outdoor, COVID-friendly comedy show was certainly not the norm, the performers and the crowd alike made the best of a challenging situation.
Right now it's like there is no industry. It's weird. This is the longest I've gone without performing for people since I was 12.
As for the comedians, it's been too long since they last took the stage. Over the past several months, they've had to adapt by doing some shows on Zoom, Instagram Live, or other online platforms.
There are people who really want to support the arts, but want to do it from a safe distance at home, and the commute is awesome for everybody because all you have to do is open your phone and watch.
But the comedians could all agree, it just wasn't the same.
There's no replacement for being live and in front of people and actually feeling an audience responding to you. You know, more than anything, that's what stand-up needs. It's not a solitary art form. Without an audience, there's no stand-up. So there's some storytelling, there's some podcasting, but there's no comedy.
I can't wait to get back to a stage where I'm more at home and in my element and able to feed directly off of an audience and energy.
So for this opportunity, the comedians were extremely grateful.
It's just nice to get outside in the open air and see smiling faces in an audience again.
Comedy is such a healing thing when there's pain and anxiety and worry. So it's really hard to have that cut off during a time when I think everyone really needs it. So it's great to be able to deliver that in a safe way.
Once the show began, though, the restrictions quickly became an afterthought. For the first time in recent memory, the audience could relate to the hot topics of the day more than ever.
More so than anything in recent history, this is the most shared experience we've ever had. It's very interesting. I started doing comedy right after 9/11, and this is the closest thing I can compare to that. But even then, that felt a little bit more removed simply because it happened in two specific spots, and we're sympathizing with everyone. This is the most shared communal American experience of my lifetime.
Though the topics ranged wildly from being a person of color to being plus size to being 40 years old in 2020, they all related in some way to the effects of COVID-19 on society and the racial conflicts that exist in America. First up was the host of the show, who was also the co-host of the Loud Women podcast and is often seen at a number of comedy institutions in Boston, Tookie Kavanaugh.
My plight with Uber drivers is that I can't stand whenever I get presumptuous Uber drivers, right? I'll get in and they'll immediately turn to the rap station, right? They want to play 94.5. I'm we're listening to gangster rap in a Prius, right?
After her set, she introduced finalist of the 2018 Boston Comedy Festival, Emily Ruskowski.
I'm a fan of the masks.
guys, right? You probably couldn't tell because my haircut is very flattering, but I don't want to have secrets from you guys. So there it is. Now we can all move forward together in honesty. But for clothes, I'm normally like, it's hard to find clothes, but I'm like all about the masks. I'm in every store like, hi, yes, where are your regular size masks for regular faces?
Whose primary job is that of a social worker.
Don't look at my '03 Corolla. I'm a social worker, that's why I drive that. Please hold your applause, it's God's work.
And to end the night was Mike Dorval, a self-titled left-leaning dad and Boston-based comedian and actor.
Do you get any headaches? I was like, yeah, sometimes. All right, do you have any trouble sleeping? Once in a while. Your body sore? Occasionally. So, oh yeah, well you got symptoms, you gotta get tested. I'm like, dude, you just described being 40.
The comedians use the stage to express all sorts of opinions and thoughts.
I found that it is a really effective means of communication and self-expression, especially in spaces where at times I don't feel like I have much of a voice. So it's like if you're the one on stage with the microphone, people have to listen, and they tend to listen more if you're funny. In light of recent events with everything that's going on with the protests and the politics and everything, that people are starting to wake up, and I really hope it takes effects in our schools, way down the line, of course. I mean, I have my own opinions, but when we start educating the kids again, I really hope that the Black Lives Matter movement inspires a broader array of information getting taught to kids, and that Black History Month isn't just, a 28-day highlight.
Boy, now that I'm the dad of a biracial child, I'm learning a lot of the stuff I loved growing up. Well, I was a little more racist than I remembered.
You know what I realized in my many travels, right? So I was born and raised in Massachusetts, right? And I think it's easy. I think we as a country, right, are coming to a point of reckoning, right? Where we are, a lot of us who didn't see stuff or were privileged enough to not experience stuff are now having to recognize, like, this is what's been going on this whole time, and these wrongs have to be righted, right? But as a white person in Massachusetts, like, there's a lot of racism that's subtle, right? And so you can overlook it if you're not looking. But I have traveled to the Deep South.
And it certainly helped that the audience appreciated the humor in this tense day and age. While the night appeared to be a success, the comedians urged people to explore other ways to find happiness.
I guess the social worker in me wants to tell people, continue to access any coping skills that are available to you in a safe way as possible. So continue to do things you love that make you feel good normally, and just, modify them in a safe way. Don't just give up on everything that makes you happy.
Maxine Friedman, Newton News, Newton Center.